Un. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être là avec nous, Marin Karmitz. Et je sais que vous venez de rentrer d'un voyage en Roumanie il n'y a pas très longtemps pour les films de Cannes à Bucarest. Et malheureusement, vous n'avez pas pu être présent et vous n'allez pas être présent à Timișoara pour le lancement du dernier cinéma d'art qui s'appelle Studio et qui est réalisé par la mairie de Timișoara avec l'appui de l'Institut français et de l'Institut Goethe. Je voudrais commencer tout de suite par vous poser une question liée au rôle qu'aujourd'hui encore peuvent avoir les cinémas d'art dans des villes européennes. Est-ce que ça compte toujours avec autant de plateformes qui se développent?
Je crois que ce n'est pas un problème en ce qui concerne le cinéma d'art. C'est un problème plus général en ce qui concerne le cinéma. C'est-à-dire que le cinéma vit sur des modèles très anciens où on avait une salle de cinéma, un film, les gens payaient, rentraient dans la salle et ressortaient. Ce système-là n'est plus à la hauteur des attentes. Je crois que les gens attendent des choses des salles de cinéma en général, du cinéma en particulier, mais dans des conditions maintenant différentes, puisqu'ils ont des choix extrêmement multiples avec entre autres les plateformes, et ils veulent que le cinéma soit vraiment une sortie, un lieu de rencontre, un lieu de partage avec d'autres personnes. Il faut que ce soit un spectacle en soi. Il faut que ce soit un moment partagé autour d'un film, mais pas seulement, et que ce soit un moment de vie ouverte par rapport au monde fermé que représente le face-à-face entre le spectateur et ce qu'il voit.
Est-ce que vous pensez que ceux qui ont des salles de cinéma se sont adaptés? Est-ce que par exemple en France, est-ce qu'il y a un essai d'adaptation à cette réalité que vous venez de décrire?
Certains se sont adaptés. Nous, on s'est adaptés depuis très très longtemps, puisque dès le départ de la construction de mes salles, ce n'étaient pas des salles de cinéma en tant que telles. C'était des lieux de vie. C'est ce qu'on appelait, nous, lieux de vie. Et l'idée, c'était changer la vie. Donc, c'était des lieux de vie pour changer la vie. Et sa salle de cinéma, c'était un lieu où on pouvait acheter des livres, avoir des discussions toute la journée, faire des expositions de photos, faire de la musique, se retrouver, un lieu de rendez-vous, manger, etc., etc. C'est-à-dire, c'était déjà, dès le départ dès les années 74, où j'ai ouvert ma première salle, c'était autre chose que les salles de cinéma. C'était ce que moi j'appelais à l'époque, ce que nous on appelait à l'époque la contre-culture, des lieux de contre-culture. Et donc on était très loin de la salle de cinéma. Alors cette idée a été plus ou moins bien reprise par des cinémas qui ont souvent réduit cette idée à l'art et essai, le cinéma, disons, difficile, etc., etc. Moi, je pense qu'il n'y a pas de cinéma difficile, il y a simplement des mauvaises façons de montrer les films. Et donc, il y a donc toute une réflexion qu'il faut avoir dans la mesure où, actuellement, on sent qu'il n'y a pas réellement de réflexion nulle part au monde, ou en tout cas dans très peu d'endroits, sur qu'est-ce que ça peut être et qu'est-ce que ça doit être une salle de cinéma adaptée au XXIe siècle et la technologie.
D'accord. Et est-ce que pendant votre visite à Bucarest et en Roumanie cette année, même si cette visite était pendant un festival et le public d'un festival est très différent du public normal, disons, des salles de cinéma, comment est-ce que vous avez ressenti le public roumain? Quelle est votre expérience? Quelle expérience? Parce que vous avez présenté aussi des films dont vous êtes réalisateur et c'était une occasion exceptionnelle de voir ces films. Mais vous avez eu aussi des rencontres avec les spectateurs. Quel était votre ressenti? Avec qu'est-ce que vous avez amené de cette visite liée à la réaction du public?
J'avoue que je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas, j'étais assez perplexe euh, dans la mesure où j'arrivais pas justement à vraiment sentir le public. Ce qui me frappe beaucoup, mais c'est pas la première fois en Roumanie, c'est à quel point ce pays me semble coupé de son histoire. C'est-à-dire que moi j'ai été très surpris de voir que, alors que je disais à certaines présentations de films, je leur disais mais je suis né là, dans une rue à côté. J'ai dû quitter la Roumanie. J'ai dû quitter ce pays. J'ai été chassé de ce pays. C'est la France qui m'a fabriqué. Donc voilà comment elle m'a fabriqué. Je n'ai jamais eu une question. Mais comment est-ce que vous avez été chassé? Et
Ouais.
par qui est-ce que vous avez été chassé? Et ça m'a énormément surpris. Et ça m'a vraiment même choqué. C'est-à-dire que il y a des responsables, il y a une responsabilité historique à cette situation. Et je pouvais en parler puisque je dois encore être l'un des derniers témoins de cette situation, hein, vu maintenant mon très grand âge. Mais est-ce que cette question n'ait pas été posée? Je me suis dit, mais comment c'est possible? Comment est-ce qu'ils évitent à ce point de parler de la guerre, des relations avec les Allemands, des Juifs, du nombre de Juifs massacrés, de pourquoi il n'y a plus de Juifs en Roumanie? Il n'y en a plus du tout. Plus du tout. Il y en avait 750 000. Il n'y a plus personne. C'est énorme. Bon, et il représentait quand même des forces puissantes pour le pays, des forces novatrices, des forces de commerce, des forces d'industrie, etc., etc., et des forces créatrices, ne fût-ce que Sébastien, mais je n'en cite qu'un. Mais ce qui m'a frappé, c'est où est l'histoire? Que fait-on de cette histoire? Donc, un pays sans mémoire est un pays qui a des problèmes et qui a du mal. Donc, c'est très compliqué de vivre de la mémoire des autres. Donc,
Tout à fait, tout à fait. Mais en même temps, il faut dire que cette rupture se passe aussi par rapport au passé très récent. Il y a une sorte de manière de euh, accepter le passé par le nier complètement. C'est-à-dire que c'est la pire des recettes de mettre là une espèce de d'ombre noire et de dire ça n'existe, ça n'a pas existé. Et donc, justement, parce que c'est ça la manière dont on pense résoudre le passé, on risque tout le temps de le reprendre, de le répéter comme dans cette fameuse phrase, celui qui ne comprend pas son histoire va sûrement la répéter. Bon, mais prenons ça, une dernière question, Marine, parce que justement, comme Timișoara maintenant, dans le sillage de sa capitale culturelle européenne, ouvre ses salles de cinéma, mais cette dernière salle qui va être le studio, qui est le studio, le cinéma studio, aura comme objectif de créer un espace culturel beaucoup plus que du cinéma, d'accord? Et comme vous avez maintenant cette collection impressionnante de photos et que vous êtes devenu un collectionneur extraordinaire et le film de Goupil qui a été présenté lors des films de Cannes montre combien votre collection est aussi une collection justement qui récupère des morceaux d'histoire. Est-ce que vous seriez, par exemple, intéressé de revenir en Roumanie avec un projet qui est lié avec ce type de connexion avec l'histoire pour ne pas l'oublier, peut-être à Timișoara, pourquoi pas?
Oui, pourquoi pas. Si vous voulez, je crois que euh, pour moi, les photos sont faites pour circuler, sont faites pour être vues. Toutes les œuvres d'art, quelles qu'elles soient, elles sont faites pour être écoutées, vues et partagées. Je déteste, si vous voulez, l'idée qu'on peut mettre en prison des artistes, quoi, et des œuvres d'art. Et donc, il faut qu'elle soit montrée. Alors, effectivement, moi, ce qui m'intéresse dans la photo, c'est ce qui, pour moi, l'identifie. C'est quelque chose que ni le cinéma ne sait faire, ni la peinture, ni la littérature, etc. C'est ce qu'on appelle le millième de seconde. Le millième de seconde, c'est comment un artiste, dans une espèce de concentration très considérable, peut arriver en une photo et en un millième de seconde à nous raconter 10, 20, 30 histoires, c'est-à-dire nous ouvrir un monde vers le rêve. Bon. C'est très compliqué, c'est très difficile, et seule la photo sait faire ça. Le cinéma, il faut 24 images pour une seconde de film, et une seconde de film, c'est un écran noir, il n'y a rien. Et donc, la photo, c'est sa spécificité, il n'y a que la photo qui sait faire ça. Et donc, c'est ça que je cherche, c'est cette spécificité d'un art à part entière. Bon. Et donc, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est les corps, c'est les visages, c'est le rapport à l'autre. C'est comment, à travers la photo, on établit un rapport à l'autre. Et c'est comme ça que j'ai fait cette exposition qui m'a été demandée au Centre Pompidou, à Paris, où on a fait une espèce de face-à-face de discussion entre la mémoire collective de l'institution. Il y a 80 000 photos au Centre Pompidou. Moi, j'en ai que 2000, donc la comparaison n'est pas possible. Mais les photos que j'ai, ils les ont pas. Et donc, on a mis en face l'un et l'autre nos apports mutuels à l'histoire de la photo.
Merci, merci beaucoup. Je vous ai promis de garder cet entretien dans des limites temporelles très, très strictes. J'espère vraiment que nous réussirons à remonter un projet autour de votre exposition et de vos films, peut-être dans cette ville, Timișoara, qui aussi est une ville qui est peut-être moins coupée de l'histoire que Bucarest. Et j'espère vraiment que vous pouvez aider à nouveau vos photos à voyager.
Notre exposition à Beaubourg, elle commençait par face à face entre des photos de Brancusi, faites par Brancusi et qui appartenaient au Centre Pompidou, et des photos d'un photographe, d'un très grand artiste polonais, qui s'appelle 𝐂𝐻𝐦𝐵 et qui m'appartiennent. Et donc, c'était un face-à-face entre un Polonais et un Roumain.
Je le sais. Merci encore, Marin Karmitz, et j'espère à bientôt.
J'espère aussi.
Je vais, I'm going to go on now with two other interviews that we did with the mayor of Timișoara, Dominic Fritz, who took the time to speak to us about the importance of having art cinemas art house cinemas in Timișoara, and then with Ioana Dragomirescu, who is the coordinator of all the art house cinemas that opened in Timișoara last year and this year too. And it is really very important to see their dedication and their passion to open up venues that will become also very, very important for the intersection of different ways in which art can transmit today, as like Marin Karmitz was saying, a cinema is not only about cinema, it's about how you turn this into a place for life. Good afternoon, Dominic Fritz. I'm very happy to have the mayor of Timișoara with me for a 10 minutes talk about cinemas and Timișoara. Dominic, I'm very, very happy to say that I did see the impact that the opening of the art cinemas in Timișoara had on audiences. And I only saw full venues whenever I came to both Victoria and Timiș. So my first question would be, why do you think it is so important to have these art houses opened in Timișoara for cinema, and probably the upcoming venues will be also doing other things? Why do you think this is important for the city?
Well, I mean, first of all, we're absolutely blown away by kind of the resonance that we've had with those two cinemas. So we've won the smaller cinema has been open for 2 years, the new one for 1 year. And in those 2 years combined, we have, I think, around 130,000 visitors. And this kind of just in a second. So it wasn't like we first had to build something really. People came storming into our events, and I think it's really it says a lot about the sense of community that people are looking for. This whole experience of Netflix at home is great, but people also want to experience art and cinema and kind of this collective emotion that watching a movie together creates. And I think what has happened is that people started to really enjoy the space as such, and those spaces became, as we planned, much more than just cinemas. I mean, we've had in Victoria, we've had in 2 years around 1,200 events, from debates to movies to theaters, comedy, and in Cinema Timiș, which is our largest cinema with around 500 seats, basically it has turned almost overnight to the most sought after event location for universities, even for companies, for anything where you want something else than kind of not the classical opera stage or our very poor looking concert hall. And I think there is really a thread that runs through all these events. It's not just a venue, it's a space that creates community, and people feel that it's part of them and of their city. And the fact that they're public cinemas, I think, plays a very important role in that feeling and in that creation of community.
Right. And now, because I know that there are also some challenges regarding the fact that today, unfortunately, in Romania, you do not have the needed technical personnel for this kind of venues, because you do need a lot of very good technicians also to run these venues. Also, I found out that both Timiș and Victoria, they have really top-notch, acoustics and visual technicalities, which is great. Now, I would like, as a second question, I would like you to tell me, precisely because you were speaking about universities and all sorts of partners that now consider these venues important. Just for you, what were the things that you saw really changing or vibrating in terms of cultural ecosystem since these cinemas opened? What was your perspective? Very like someone from the audience, just like someone from the audience.
Well, I think that the first surprise, and this really has been a surprise, I mean, it kind of has exceeded our expectation, it was that it's really, a lot of times it's very full. I mean, we have a really good attendance, and you meet a lot of people there that you might not see in other cultural events. And I think it has created a kind of culture of going to these places. It's really hard to describe. So you see, first of all, it's much, the community is much larger. You go there, it's full, you see, and yes, you do recognize faces, but it's always also new people there, and so it's really a much larger community than I had imagined. And then unfortunately that we managed to build with, I don't know, our Philharmonic orchestra or the theaters that have very niche communities. But going to a movie seems to be, you know, you don't need to have a kind of predisposition for movies. And because there are all kinds of movies, I think we managed to reach lots of different people in the city. And then at the same time, the experience, again, is a unifier. So kind of the way we managed to find this sense of community, although it's a very diverse group of people, this is something that I'm really happy about and that surprises me every time. And I think this is also due to the fact that we don't have too much of we're not too serious about kind of our mission of transmitting, I don't know what, about the art of cinema or whatever, although there is a debate whether it's too elitist or not that we don't allow food and popcorn in the cinema. That's an interesting debate. But it's so we're not shying away from showing blockbuster movies and from time to time to really make sure that people understand that it's their theater, their movie theater. It's not you know, it doesn't belong to any specific group of moviegoers, and this opens the space up for other events. So it's really once you've been there for a movie or a concert or whatever, I think many people start thinking about, especially if they have their own institution or whatever, okay, what kind of event could I do in this space? Because it's this kind of cozy atmosphere, and it's also something, and we shouldn't forget that there is a sense of history, because many people remember that they went there when 30, 40, 50 years ago when they were children or teenagers. So it's not a movie theater in a mall, but it's really something that has always belonged to the community, and now they feel it's being given back to them, and so you can sense that in when you go there, and it's a very special atmosphere. I don't know. I noticed that I'm almost describing it in spiritual terms, which may be a bit too much, but it's so great that there has to be something special about these places.
Dominic, thank you so much. Indeed, since we first met a number of years ago, I have to say that it is very impressive to see that Timișoara, not only for cinema, but really the cultural capital, the European cultural capital, was a generator for so many things that are socially essential for the people of Timișoara. And I think that a lot is due to your action that was not always comfortable, but was always open to what was really giving a good energy in the city. Thank you very, very much for this, and hope to go forward and see you with the upcoming events that are so important here in Romania. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Ioana.
Hello.
I'm very happy to have you as a guest for this Salon Insula 42. I am really this meeting, this conversation is about cinemas, right? Cinema Studio was supposed to open already, but it didn't. However, it will very soon open. And because you, Ioana Dragomirescu, are the one that is in charge of this pharaonic project, which is opening the cinemas, programming, managing the important number of venues that Timișoara will have for cinema and other related activities and events. I would like to start by asking you, what is the history of this opening of Cinema Victoria, Cinema Timiș, the new Studio Cinema, and others that are going to open in Timișoara very soon?
So thank you for the opportunity. It's a subject I live with every day, and it's something me and my team are very passionate about. Otherwise, the workload would be too much. But you know, passion makes you go forward and pushes you to limits you don't know you could surpass. So just for a brief history, we are now operating Cinema Victoria, the first one that was renovated and reopened since 2 years. We just celebrated 2 years of reopening Victoria in the middle of September. And Cinema Timiș, which is, it seems a lot. Time flew, but yeah, we kind of realized with these anniversaries, which we make a point in celebrating with special programs, that actually it's been another year. And we have just finished last weekend a celebration of 1 year since Cinema Timiș, in which I'm right now, which is our biggest venue, 500 seats in the middle, in the city center of Timișoara, in front of the cathedral. So this one has been in use since mid-October of last year. So it's been exactly 12 months. And Studio, which has somehow the most important status because it has been nurtured and dreamed of by many other associations and film-related projects in Timișoara. So it's not just our project, it's a project we share with other stakeholders in the city. Studio will open this year. We had a lot of challenges, and I will maybe go briefly into them, but we are determined to keep this schedule of opening a new venue every year. And next year, if everything goes well, Freidorf, which is the smallest of the venues and the one which will have, let's say, the most underlying social aspect to it, because it's in a outskirts neighborhood which is not used to having cultural venues. It's not used to having any kind of cultural activity for the neighborhood. So we will try to bring cinema to those people, to those kids mainly, because there's a lot of children there, but also other kinds of activities. And then the last one will be Cinema Dacia, which is located in one of the most populous neighborhoods of Timișoara. It's among apartment buildings. There's nothing really, let's say, beautiful or picturesque in that neighborhood, but there's a lot of people, and people need activities. And if they can have them next door, it's even better for them. How the project started, it's by something which happens.
But Ioana, just to ask you this, are all these cinemas going to have a different profile? Is it, because when you're talking about Studio especially, I think it's important to say it's not going to be just a cinema, and also the others are not just cinema venues. Yes. So just talk about it a little bit, because that's interesting for people to know.
So from the very beginning, when the local authorities decided they are going to renovate not 1 but 5 different venues, it became apparent that the city, which is not as big as Bucharest or other capitals, is just roughly 400,000 people here, could not accommodate so many venues that would be only cinemas. That would be too much for the demand. So the plan was, which me and my team came up with, was to differentiate them and have a specific programming for each cinema, so that we don't overlap and we don't compete among the venues. So Victoria is very much focused towards art house cinema. It's already a venue which belongs to European Cinema Association.
Network, yeah.
The network, we're already inside, and the programming is very much focused on art house films and Romanian films, but also let's say community events, with 200 seats is the perfect venue for artists in the community, be it conferences or theater plays or small concerts or just debates and discussions to take place there. And that's also one of the missions we embrace from the beginning. These places have to be opened not just for people in the city to visit, but also for local cultural operators to use and to stage, let's say, and put their projects in the best technical conditions to meet the public. So
I have seen from this point of view, Victoria, maybe we can note that I saw all this. I personally also was a couple of the films that Adriana Babetz did with the team, the
secret map of Timișoara.
The secret map of Timișoara that is dealing with buildings, coffee, beer, what happened. I mean, it's a sort of a history of Timișoara through these small documentaries, which are very, very, very very interesting. Okay, and studio is going to be also a lab for cinema creators.
Yes, the plan for studio. So because Victoria opened first, obviously it had to cover all the cinema part and then the multifunctional part on top. But now that studio will open, some of the cinema programs which we have already established and developed in Victoria will transit towards studio. And studio will be the main art house cinema venue of the city because it's also very central. But on top of its, let's say, cinema exhibition mission, it will also have this hub for production, but not only production. The way we hope it will function and we envisage it is that this hub would also serve as a platform for film education activities, for activities that maybe teach young professionals how to edit film, how to sound grade, and all this kind of things that are very important for the local or regional development of the cinematic industry. And we can, of course, not dream that we will be editing long features straight away there, but if we have people that are interested in making short films, even stop motion, anything that is related to the film industry could benefit from this space, which will be equipped and ready to welcome such projects. And we hope it will bring new life and creativity into the artistic scene, let's say. On top of course, what we will do with the cinema as an exhibition platform, and we will have two cinema rooms there. So we will have more flexibility in programming. Timiș, yes.
Ioana, I know you want, but I was because our time is so short.
Yes.
I would like you to tell me, because we know Timiș is much bigger and indeed in a way probably more difficult to program because you really need films that bring people or events that bring people on how many seats?
505 seats.
Yeah, so 505 seats. Well, I mean, this is a number to bring over
exactly
each for each screening. Now, my question is, what for you, Ioana, precisely because you had this kind of gradual opening of cinemas, and some cinemas will still open. What do you think that you feel was really the best thing that you could say about this opening of art house cinemas? Of course, in a way, during the European cultural capital, this was, well, in a way, it went with the flow of capital. But now, since the capital ended, what did you feel is really the most positive things that these cinemas brought and generated in the audience in Timișoara? So we were very mindful of how we can build an audience, and the fact that the cinemas are opened gradually and are still opening, as you said, allowed us to calibrate what we were doing, to test things in Victoria and to realize, okay, this works better in this venue, and maybe in Timiș we program differently, and so we can split the films.
and I will stop with programming here, but our aim is, as I said, to not repeat the same program. So it's a big challenge to have something different and something new in each of the venues, because there's not so many films that come out every week in Romania. So we need to program very creatively, and we rely heavily on festivals as well, and programs from the local operators, but we program ourselves very creatively and in very different directions as well. The main success, I would say, and the main thing that remains, and this was throughout 2023, the year of the capital. Of course, the cultural scenery in Timișoara was very crowded. There were a lot of things happening. So our audience, we managed to build it and to hold on to it. But of course, we had a lot of competition from other events. People couldn't go to everything they wanted to go. But after the capital, other cultural institutions saw a decline in their public, not us. We opened the second venue, so we could have split our initial public in two and just continue with that. But actually what happened is that the numbers in Victoria, which was around 38,000 people for the first year, only dropped by very, very few people. So 36,000 the second year. And in Timiș, on top of it, we had around 55,000. So the rate to which people come and don't stop coming, but expand, and we get to have new people is very encouraging. And what we are doing is not just counting box office numbers. We are really, the team feels that we are building a community. We have pins and t-shirts and logos, and this pin it's called Cinephil de Timișoara, so cinephile from Timișoara, and we've already started to kind of build this brand that can encapsulate all the venues, so that you feel that you are in the same, let's say, network. And people give us incredible feedback. They really tell us on tape or just when we meet in the hallways that they feel connected to the others, they feel they are heard. We are trying our best to even take suggestions and, make them involved as much as possible. And we also have a vibrant community of volunteers. So I would say we not only open the venues, but we build a community which is growing and growing exponentially.
And which, of course, is going to generate interest for the arts generally, because basically whenever you have this kind of transformative experience, people afterwards go to other visual kind of experiences. And then visual arts is so present in Timișoara with the art encounters and with the 𝐂𝐬𝐧𝐞 gallery and with the triade and with the biennial, the architectural.
And we are also, just to build on that very shortly, we are trying actively to partner with all these institutions you mentioned. We have film programs related to Beta, which they are curating. We have programs together with the Museum of Art, where we screen documentaries about painters. So we are really trying to cooperate as much as possible with libraries, with 𝐵 with Cărturești, with everybody who wants to show something of value in the best cinematic conditions. And I think the public can only benefit from this because they see that if they see an exhibition, they can watch the film to complete it and so on.
Right. Okay. So and now some words about the challenges that you have, because there are a lot of challenges. I mean, doing so much and with such a small team, I personally have great admiration for the achievement you had and your team had with very, very reduced means and resources in a way, but a lot of passion, a lot of energy. And what are still the challenges, and also the challenges to come regarding the development of this network that looks like an ecosystem already?
So the first challenge, it's a blessing and a challenge at the same time. We are locally funded, so we benefit from public funds from the local authorities, because the buildings have been restored through the contribution of the local authorities, the Marin, and we have parts of our budget is still funded by them, and of course the other part, and the very significant one, is funded through our own ticket sales. But being a public entity comes with a lot of things you have to follow, a lot of rules, a lot of bureaucracy. A lot of the times we feel that we cannot move as fast as we would need to. We have the mentality of a startup. We work 12 hours a day and we want to move faster. And it's simply not possible in terms of our setting and our legal, let's say, reality.
Architecture, the way that
Yes.
it's architectured from an administrative.
And also that same thing puts a cap on the number of people we can have in our team, which is very, very small compared to other public institutions, which are, of course, older and more established than us, and also very small compared to the numbers of public we attract, which are double, triple, if not more than other public institutions. But obviously, we cannot expect to have from the beginning so many people, but we have a challenge in growing at the same time as our activity grows. To give an example, we opened the next venue with little to none extra staff, which is feat. Hopefully we can pull it off again. We did it with Timiș because the paperwork and all the administrative part takes so long, and the pressure from the public to open is so big, not just the public, also the partners and so on, that we feel the need to, as fast as possible, just start. Whereas normal public pace would be, let's wait for 6 months, hire some people and then start. At the same time, the only way you can do this job, and it's valid for this, let's say, network, mini network, but also for other cinema, is by being very passionate. And you cannot properly do it if everybody in the team is not invested for the same goal and it's not able to give 150%. It's just not realistic. So far, the energy we get from the public is enough. But of course, we would need to, at some point, catch up with the team and with the means we have. I'm not speaking necessarily about money because we generate a lot of revenue from tickets, but I'm speaking mostly about of people which we can hire. And there's a lot of hassle with the buildings, which are new, obviously. So, but also you need to care for them constantly, be it renovations of small things that happen, or switching from summer to winter and so on. And the buildings have very big costs because they are big, they are new, and you have to have the revenue to cover those costs.
And also the technical stuff that you have to employ, which unfortunately we no longer have. I mean, there's no schools preparing enough projectionists, enough people who are specialized in sound. Because today, for example, as far as I know, the Timiș, for example, has a technical equipment that is very high level. So how do you find the people who know how to manage and deal with this kind of equipment?
This is a big challenge, especially because we are multifunctional. So if the people who are watching us, you can imagine in a normal, let's say, classic cinema, multiplex cinema, they are only screening films, and they are screening a limited range of films. We are doing concerts, we are doing conferences where we have speakers of very high level. We have to be able to cover from lights to sound to projection and festivals and manual subtitling and so on. So it's much more complex and diverse. And so far we have imported, let's say, so one of our technical persons came from Bucharest. It's a friend of mine I actually convinced to move to Timișoara. And the other main, let's say, technical person we have came from Arad. So there's definitely there
is no pool of technicians that you can pick and choose.
We have to form them, bring them from abroad or from other cities, or form them from scratch. And it's time consuming, but hopefully we find enough people which are passionate about cinema so that they want to learn.
Great. Now, because unfortunately our time is up, I would like to end with a question that is also very personal for you, Ioana. What is the promise you made to yourself in engaging in this kind of, heartfelt and passionate and energetic adventure that benefits afterwards all the communities, artistic communities, not only the cinephiles, in Timișoara, because you are from Timișoara, you worked for a while in Bucharest, but what is the promise that you made yourself about this?
There's actually two. One I already broke. The one I made to myself on a personal level after leaving 𝐂𝐲 Popescu in Bucharest, and was to try and work normal hours and lead a personal life. That one went quickly down the drain. Absolutely did not fulfill that promise to myself. The other promise, or let's say ambition I had, was to try and bring together everything I learned, of course, in 𝐂𝐲 Popescu in Bucharest over the 4 years, but also in France, where I lived and worked for a long time in the cinema sector, to make from this clean slate we had the best thing we could do, and to really make our vision come true. And when I say our vision, of course, my vision to begin with, but very important people joined us in terms of how the cinema looked, in terms of how we communicate. There is a lot of passion involved, and to see and to come every day to a team which is passionate and which you feel that pulls in the same direction as you, that's a fulfillment. So my promise to myself, or ambition, was to make this work and to make it worthwhile for the people that live here, and to make something solid that will withstand the passage of time, or the changing of the administration, or even my let's say moving on at some point. Hopefully this will not be just a couple of years. It will be forever a mark in Timișoara's cultural scene.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ioana. And look forward to see you during the many projects that I see behind you.
Yes, no. Just some, and hopefully you can join us for opening studio.
Absolutely, I will. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.